Hi folks, we actually do have one more thing to do in chapter 12, so we'll call this 12 part 3. We haven't discussed the long run. Essentially, if firms are making profits, should they try to get bigger? And when they're all profit maximizing and trying to choose the optimal scale in the long run, what does that look like? Most folks are going to tell you that perfect competition is in fact the ideal for efficiency. You're going to get productively efficient outcomes and allocatively efficient outcomes. So I'll show you real quickly why everyone thinks that's going to be the case. In order to attack this problem, we're going to have to revisit economies of scale. If you'll recall, sometimes a firm getting bigger would actually improve its long-run average costs. So throughout this green region here, as you get larger, your average costs are improving. And in this flat spot, you actually have constant returns to scale. And constant returns to scale means you get bigger, but your costs aren't getting any better. And then over here, you're going to have decreasing returns to scale. And decreasing returns to scale clearly implies that getting bigger makes your average costs worse. So if you're in a position where you're making profits and getting bigger can actually lower your cost structure, why would you not do that? That's what we're going to talk about. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at a situation where you have a price that is plenty large enough to generate profits. And you can see that if you draw in a short run average total cost and a marginal cost to go with it, and let's say that this is one possibility here on your LRAC, you can see that your Q star, as suggested by the intersection between price and marginal cost, is going to generate profit. You're going to have a revenue box that is larger than your total cost box. The difference between the two of them, of course, is going to be your profits. Well, if you're making profits, but you can make this same quantity in a more cost-effective way by increasing your scale, right? Down here, this point suggests that there's a way to produce that quantity at a lower average total cost. You're going to want to do that. You're going to want to buy the extra machines, the factory space, whatever it may be, and you'd lower your overall average total costs. This would expand your profit box, of course. Now, expansion can increase profits if it lowers ATC. Because what we're talking about really here is you would switch from ATC 0 here, and all of a sudden now you would be at an ATC that's much lower, right? In fact, you may even choose to go further than this. You may choose to expand clear out to here, right? The whole point is that there's options to expand and keep lowering your costs at high prices. That's really attractive. Okay. In our last slide, we started to recognize that any firm that was making profits at the going market price would start to recognize that if there were economies of scale that they could take advantage of, they were going to want to expand, and the ATC was going to start dropping. As that firm expands, you're going to see more supply in the market, and I want you to remember also that the perfectly competitive firm, there are no barriers to entry that protect them. Anyone can join this market that wants to. So you should totally expect imitators. And when people start to imitate and join your market, you are going to end up with more supply. And more supply, of course, means that we should expect lower prices. So the price starts falling. And that's okay. This firm's still making money, they're still profiting, and in fact, they're still actually saying, this looks pretty good to me. I think that I'm going to expand some more, because if I expand some more, I'm actually going to be able to jump out and I'm going to be able to get my ATC to go even lower. So they may choose to expand some more, and other firms may look around and say, these guys are still making profits. I think I'm going to actually join that market as well. And so as you have people that continue to join this market, you're going to see that the supply keeps getting pushed out and the price keeps falling. And as the price continues to fall, you may end up with a situation where you're in break even. It doesn't matter. Even if you're breaking even, you still want to get bigger if by getting bigger you can lower your cost structure. This firm and every other firm is going to continue to keep entering in at larger scales until there is no way to improve on the average total cost structure, the LRAC. Okay. Finally, once you have enough of these folks who have entered in, you are going to see that the supply curve has jumped out and the price is driven down to the absolute lowest that it can possibly go. I shouldn't say possibly. It's the lowest price that can be acceptable to firms in the long run. Because of course, at this lowest price here, what we have is a situation where the firm is breaking even. You would have, in essence, a revenue box that was equal to your total cost box. Zero profits means that no other firm is going to want to join anymore. This does not look like an attractive market to enter. And at this point, we've got a couple of nice things going for us. We have driven our price down to its absolute lowest possible spot. We have also, at the same time, driven our quantity out as far as it can possibly go. So this situation is really attractive to the economist because once profits equal zero at this point, you've got a couple of things happening. Your price is actually P star because it is the minimum price that keeps these firms around. It's also the lowest possible cost for producing this product because you've reached the minimum of your LRAC. Therefore, it is productively efficient. It's also the minimum of your ATC, so you know they're breaking even, hence the profit equaling zero. And it's still equal to MC, so it's allocatively efficient. The last unit generated a benefit, as expressed by the price, that was equal to the marginal costs that were required to create it. So it's allocatively efficient, productively efficient, and firms have essentially exhausted all of their possible options. Right? They're at the best scale they can get to. This is long-run equilibrium.